I want you to imagine something for a moment. You're walking through Disney World with your family. It's been a long day. Kids are excited. Florida sun is doing what Florida sun does. And you probably spent more money on snacks than you ever planned when you left the hotel that morning. Eventually, you stop for lunch. Maybe there's a burger. Maybe there's some fries. Maybe it's a bowl of mac and cheese. You grab a pack of ketchup without even thinking about it. And that's the point. You didn't even think about it. Most of us don't think about ketchup. We spend time debating it with friends. We don't watch YouTube reviews about it. We don't stand in grocery stores wondering about its origin stories. It's one of those products that has become so integrated in everyday life that it almost disappears in the background. Which is exactly why the latest move by Kraft Heinz is so fascinating. This week, the company announced that a major long term alliance with Disney will bring brands like Heinz, Kraft Mac and Cheese, and Philadelphia Cream Cheese into Disney's North America theme parks, resorts, cruise lines, media properties, and consumer experiences. The agreement would allow Kraft Heinz to incorporate Disney storytelling and characters into products and marketing initiatives. Now, when I first read that headline, my immediate reaction was simple. Why Disney? Why now? And more importantly, why now? Because when you look at the story, the more you realize it isn't about food at all. Welcome back to Business Insights Daily. I'm your host, Shank. And today, we should discuss the story behind a remarkable move from Kraft Heinz and why it's betting on magic to reinvent its own business. What if the future of consumer brands isn't about getting onto more shelves, but about becoming part of more memories? That's the question that's kept me coming back. You see, Kraft Heinz isn't a startup trying to introduce itself to the world. Quite the opposite. It owns some of the most recognizable brands on the planet. Heinz ketchup has been around for well over a century. Kraft mac and cheese is practically an American institution. These brands have enormous awareness, enormous distribution, and enormous recognition. But recognition isn't the same thing as growth. Over the last several years, Kraft Heinz has faced the same challenges confronting many legacy consumer brands. Consumer tastes have evolved, competition has intensified. Younger shoppers are developing relationships with brands differently than previous generations, and simply being familiar is no longer enough to guarantee excitement. According to reports surrounding the partnership announcement, the new company leadership team, led by CEO Steve Kahilane, has been focused on finding ways to reignite growth and restore momentum to the portfolio. Kahilane has reportedly committed significant investments towards marketing, innovation, and business revitalization shifts. That brings us back to Disney, because Disney may have been one of the few companies in the world that has mastered something every brand wants but can consistently create emotional connections. Think about it for a second. Disney may be one of the few companies that has mastered something every brand wants but can consistently create. Disney doesn't just sell movies, it doesn't just sell rights. Disney sells memories, sell moments families talk about for years afterwards, and sells experiences that become stories. And stories have an extraordinary staying power. Could the most valuable real estate in America really be actually the space inside someone's childhood memories? Because if that's true, then this space could actually make a lot more sense. This alliance will put out Heinz brands across Disney parks, resorts, cruise ships, fan events, media properties, and entertainment experiences. New menu items, branded experiences, custom installations, and storytelling opportunities all expected to emerge from the collaboration between Disney and Kraft Heinz. Executives have described the relationship as an effort to connect with families during meaningful moments, whether at home or while visiting Disney destinations. What's fascinating is that this is a way to represent a different way of thinking about marketing. For decades, the traditional model straightforward. You create a commercial, you bought television time, you ran a newspaper ad, you put a coupon in the Sunday circular. The objective was simple: attract attention. But attention has become one of the most abundant and least valuable resources in the modern economy. Everyone is competing, everyone is competing for it. Every notification, every social media platform, every streaming service, every app on your phone is competing for the same exact thing. But the attention has become one of the most abundant and least valuable resource. So how do you stand out? Increasingly, companies are concluding that the answer isn't attention, it's participation. It's becoming what part of an experience rather than interrupting one. It's becoming That's why Disney becomes such a compelling partner. Disney guests aren't showing up because they want to see advertising, they're showing up because they want to feel something. They want wonder, excitement, nostalgia, family connection. If Kraft Heinz can successfully weave itself into those experiences, it changes the relationship customers have with its brand. What if the smartest marketing strategy isn't that isn't what you have to sell, but create stories consumers want? Remember, one detail from the reporting really stood out. Company leaders have discussed possibilities ranging from Disney inspired packaging, immersive food experiences, and themed installation throughout Disney properties. At first glance, that might sound pretty gimmicky, but when you think about the perspective of an 8-year-old visiting Disney. The child probably won't remember the television commercial they watched last month, but they might remember the magical Disney experience connected to a favorite food brand. They might remember it for years. And suddenly that marketing investment starts to look a lot different. It's also part of a broad pattern emerging at Kraft Heinz. Earlier this year, a partnership with the NFL designed to increase brand visibility and engagement across professional football experiences. That means the company is increasingly placing its brands inside environments where customers are emotionally invested rather than simply trying to reach them through traditional retail challenges. And honestly, that's what makes the story so interesting. 'Cause it reflects a larger shift happening across businesses. The strongest brands today don't just compete on a product quality, they compete on cultural elements. They compete on emotion and they compete on experience. Which brings us another interesting thought. What if nostalgia is one of the most powerful and undervalued assets? Both Disney and Kraft Heinz possess something many companies spend billions trying to create: generational familiarity. Parents grow up with Disney, grandparents grow up with Disney, kids are growing up with Disney. And the same can be said for many Kraft Heinz products. Its company executive noted during the announcement, generations of families have experienced both brands side by side, whether watching Disney movies at home or sharing meals around the dinner table. That's what's so remarkable is that neither company is attempting to create a relationship. It's amplifying a relationship that already exists. Taking connections that have quietly lived inside households for decades and bring them into one much larger stage. And that may ultimately be the one real strategic insight here. Not every business has the opportunity to impart family's traditions. Not every business has the opportunity to participate in moments that people remember for decades. And Disney does. And Kraft Heinz wants to be there too. So, 10 years from now, will this Disney partnership be remembered as a clever marketing campaign or as a moment Kraft Heinz fundamentally reinvented how legacy brands connect with consumers? We don't know the answer to that, but what we do know is what makes this story worth watching. Because somewhere between a bottle of Heinz ketchup and a Cinderella castle sits a fascinating experiment in the future of branding. And if it works, other companies will surely follow. That's it for today's edition of Business Insights Daily. Until next time, stay informed and stay ahead. Thank you for listening.